Hello and welcome to episode 47 of Daryl Show Your Work. And in this video, I'll be conducting an investigation of some anomalous activity on an enterprise using the Splunk tool once again. So, an overview for those that may have not seen my previous video where I was using Splunk. What Splunk is, it's a security information and event management solution used for searching, monitoring, and analyzing machine-generated data which is primarily used for IT operations, security, and observability. All right, so it's what in the cybersecurity arena is typically called a SIEM tool, and that's what security information and event management tool is long for. All right, so we're going to be working off of a scenario in this video. So our scenario is an alert has been generated by our SOC team's Splunk SIEM that a rogue process explorer.exe on our enterprise and may be conducting enumeration of a local user group. All right, so we want to start investigating that. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to go to Splunk. So it's a web-based application. So we're going to have to use our browser. In this instance, we're going to use Firefox. All right. So in order to get to our Splunk instance, I'm going to go to HTTPS. Well, actually, no, we're not using HTTPS. All right, // all right, and it's located at 192, 168, 1, and then it's 8. And then we're also going to be utilizing port 8000 to get there. All right, there we go. So Splunk is loading. All right, now to get to our logs, I need to go up here to apps, and I'm going to go to search and report, and that's going to take us to our list of logs. All right, now in order to bring up our logs here, we have to enter in a query string. So before we do that, we don't want to just see the last 24 hours. I'm going to change this to all time. All right, so we can see across a multitude of times and dates and things like that in case there's something that we need to correlate on a much larger scale. All right, so the query that I'm going to put in here is I am going to write a query that's going to give us back just Windows based logs. So um, I am going to say source equals, and I'm going to give say win event log. I just want Windows only event logs. All right, then I'm gonna choose this one right here that just says security. I want the security logs. All right, everything looks good there. All right, so I'm gonna click the search button. All right, so if we look at the first set of logs that showed up here, right off the bat, we're seeing a lot of activity from desktop BT 4131D, and this is the machine that we're seeing a lot of this security activity from. All right, so then the next thing that we need to do is let's go down to process name. So we know that our process name is explorer.exe. So we want to be able to find that here to dive further into logs associated with that particular process. All right, so we can see that it's the fourth entry right here. And an interesting thing to note is that besides this seemingly normal browser update for Microsoft Edge, all right, Explorer EXE appears to be the only process here being ran from this particular machine that's not coming out of the System 32 directory. All right, so that's an interesting thing to note right off the bat. So I'm going to click on this entry here to see all the logs associated with explorer.exe and see if we can see what's going on here. All right. So we see all the logs here that just populated for Explorer exe. All right. So the next thing that I want to do is from our interesting fields. I want to go to account name, and I want to be able to see what accounts is this particular um, Explorer exe file being executed from. Now, again, something that we could see before even clicking on account name, there appears to be only one account that's responsible for all of these explorer.exe options, excuse me, logs, which is again is suspicious because you would think something like explorer.exe executable, you would have, multiple accounts or whatever because it's such a common process. So anyway, but then again, this is one machine, so I would expect this one machine to have one user. So I'm gonna click account name. All right, and then we can see that the account associated with these with this process is LabUser. All right, so let's dive deeper into LabUser and let's see all the related logs we could find associated with them. All right, um, and also another thing I just wanted to point out too, when it's in terms of speaking about Explorer exe, malware, it often disguises itself as Explorer exe to evade detection and then blend in with legitimate system processes. And it's a way to for attackers to maintain persistence. So that's why the system will flag something like an Explorer exe because it's one of those signatures or one of those things um, that our SIM tool would pick up on, and we would need to investigate if any sort of anomalous behavior is associated with that process. So I just wanted to highlight that before moving on. All right. So now we're in lab users related security logs here. Let's see if we could go to in a to be basically we want to be able to narrow down this list into a particular event or things associated with what we're looking for. So it's coming back with one event code. All right, and we see that event code is 4798. So let's click on that, and that's going to bring us down out of these 74 logs that we got. This is what's going to narrow it back down to the 37 that we initially saw for explorer.exe. All right, so I'm going to look at this first log here, and I'm going to expand this caret. All right, then scrolling a little bit further down, we can see a message here. All right, that clearly says a user's local group membership was enumerated. All right, so it gives us that message plain and clear, and then we can see the security ID, and we can see the account that's associated with, which is again lab user, and we can see under account domain, we can see this machine name, this host name here that we initially saw when starting. All right, and it gives us some of the same information again. And then also at the very end of this message, it tells us the process that's associated um, with this log, with this event, which is the explorer.exe um, file. All right, so this tells us pretty much everything we need to know. And basically, as a SOC analyst, we would need to then escalate this because all the proof is right here in the message of what was happening, by what account, by what process, and so probably this user account would need to be at least temporarily disabled, and also that this workstation would need to be isolated from the network since we were able to confirm um, malicious activity here. And the thing that attackers often do is to enumerate local group memberships to identify privileged accounts to exploit. So they will be looking for certain admin accounts within this account, within this local group, or at least accounts that have those elevated or privileges for them then to try to um, breach or to try to compromise in order to continue the lateral movement within our network. All right, so um, by monitoring unusual activity linked to the LabUser account, we improved our ability to detect and respond to security threats before they were to escalate. So log analysis and proactive security monitoring safeguards any enterprise's infrastructures. And again, being proactive, being able to find activity like this as early on as possible allows us to root out a breach or root out a threat before any further damage happens. Where we could catch them in the enumeration phase and the recon phase, then and get them out of our network. That's for the best before they could again conduct any further lateral movement, compromise any other accounts, and then be able to get a hold of any sort of sensitive data or cause any sort of malicious actions within our enterprise. So that's going to bring us to the end of this video. It was a short one today, but I thought this would be another great way to to display how we can use Splunk to be able to narrow down anomalous behaviors and catch them quickly within cyber kill chain. So please like, subscribe, and share. Most importantly, show your work. Until next time, take care of yourself and God bless.